Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down my lineup for Friday, January 27th. We've got a 10-game slate this Friday, so I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into it. Alright, starting off at point guard, I'm going to go with Mike Conley. This is a pretty solid matchup for Conley. He gets to play the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are not a great defense. Damian Lillard is not great defensively, and the Trailblazers play at a very fast pace. Conley has been pretty consistent all year, and he's played consistent minutes. He has been struggling a little bit lately with just 23 and 29 fantasy points in his last two games. But I definitely think this is a matchup where Conley can bounce back. Like I said, Portland is a bad defense and they play at a fast pace, so this is definitely a matchup where Conley can score the ball. He'll get you some peripherals as well. So I definitely like Conley at his price tag. I think he's too cheap in my opinion. I think he can get you upwards of 40 to 50 fantasy points in this matchup. Alright, at shooting guard, I'm going to go for mid-range and take DWade. DWade gets a matchup against his former team. And if you look at DWade's box score, he's been absolutely killing it lately. In his last three games, he's played over 30 minutes and he's put up 55, 47, and 47 fantasy points. For a $27 price tag on Yahoo, that is absolutely crushing value. I don't expect Wade to get 50 fantasy points in this matchup, but I definitely think he can get you 30 plus. The Heat are not great defensively, and they play at a pretty fast pace. This is definitely a matchup Wade can exceed in against his former team. And you know he's going to come out with some fire going up against his former team. So I definitely like Wade tonight for shooting guard. They can get you at least 30 fantasy points against the Heat. Alright, in my guard position, I'm going to go with a guy who's just absolutely been killing it lately and is too underpriced, and that's Dion Waiters. Waiters is still relatively cheap at just $17. His price has come up a little bit, but he's still cheap in my opinion. In his last three games, he's put up 42, 47, and 41 fantasy points. Now, I don't know if that'll continue in this matchup against the Bulls, but I definitely like Waiters to get you 25 to 30 in this matchup. The Bulls play at an average pace. They're not very fast, but not too slow either. I like Waiters for value. He's just absolutely been killing it lately. He can get you at least 25 to 30 fantasy points in this matchup against the Bulls. So definitely like Waiters tonight for value if you need it at your shooting guard or guard position. Alright, at small forward, I'm going to take another guy who's just absolutely been killing lately, and that's Jae Crowder. Crowder gets another solid matchup against the Magic. The Magic play at a pretty fast pace, and they are bad defensively. If you look at Crowder's box score, he's just been absolutely crushing as well. In his last 5 games, he's put up 33, 29, 26, 30, and 42 fantasy points. And he's locked in when it comes to minutes. He'll play 30 to 40 minutes a night. He's way too cheap in my opinion at just $19. He offers great value with that price tag, so I definitely think Crowder can exceed value in this matchup. I like him to get 25 to 30 plus fantasy points in this matchup against the Magic. Alright, at power forward, I'm going to pay up and take Kevin Love. Love gets a terrific matchup against the Nets. The Nets are one of the worst defenses in the league, and they play at the fastest pace. This is definitely a matchup Love can exceed in. He has been struggling lately, but he's picked it up in his last 2 games, scoring 47.7 fantasy points in both of his last 2 games. This is definitely a matchup where he can get you 40 plus fantasy points. The only thing I worry about when playing the Nets is if it's a blowout. I'm recording this the night before, so I don't really know what the spread is, but I would imagine Cleveland would be favored by close to 14 to 15 points in this matchup. If Love gets his full run of 30 plus minutes, he'll definitely exceed value in this matchup. So definitely like Love tonight to get you 40 plus. Hopefully the game can stay close and he'll be out there for his full run. But yeah, definitely like Love tonight for power forward. Alright, in my forward position, I'm going to take Robert Covington. Rocco has been pretty consistent lately. He's locked in when it comes to minutes. He plays 30 plus minutes a night. And like I say, he's been very consistent. In his last 5 games, he's put up 20, 33, 33, 36, and 25 fantasy points. It's just a $21 price tag. I feel like he can definitely exceed value in this matchup. He gets a matchup against the Rockets, who play at a very fast pace, and they're not very good defensively. This is definitely a matchup Rocco can excel in. In an up-and-pace matchup, he should be able to score the ball more, which is where he gets most of his fantasy points. So definitely like Rocco tonight. They can get you 30 plus fantasy points in this up-and-pace matchup. Alright, at center, I'm going to take arguably the best value play on the board and go with Nerlens Noel. Jahlil Okafor and Joel Embiid are both doubtful to play. If both of them are ruled out, Nerlens Noel arguably becomes the best value play on the slate. He's just $11 on Yahoo, which is just way too cheap. In his last 2 games with Okafor and Embiid out, he's put up 45 and 34 fantasy points and has played almost 30 minutes in both of those games. He gets a terrific matchup against the Rockets. They play up in pace and they aren't great defensively. Noel doesn't need much minutes to produce. If he gets at least 25 minutes, which he should, he'll be able to put up 30 plus fantasy points. He's mostly a rebounder and a scorer, but he will get you some assists and blocks and steals. So definitely like Noel tonight if Okafor and Embiid don't play, which I don't think they will. I think that makes Noel the best value play on the slate. Finally, at my utility spot, I'm going to take Marc Gasol. Gasol has been absolutely on fire lately. He gets another solid matchup with the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers play at a very fast pace. If you look in Gasol's last 5 games, he's been absolutely killing it. 42, 41, 46, 45, and 59 fantasy points. He is way too cheap at just $31 on Yahoo based on his recent production. He's played upwards of 30 minutes in every single one of those games. So I definitely think he can get you upwards of 40 to 50 fantasy points in this matchup. He's great for cash games and tournament because he has the solid floor and he'll give you some upside. So like Gasol all around, think he's a great play on the board at just $31. Alright guys, so this is going to be my lineup for Friday, January 27th. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section and I'll answer them. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you never want to miss out on any of my videos, be sure to click the bell notification next to my name. That will send you a notification either on your phone or your computer whenever I upload a new video, so be sure to do that so you don't miss out on any videos. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Congratulations. Work so hard, forgot how to vacation. They ain't never had the dedication. People hate and say we change